can try to not get my spilled tea.
It's not gonna show.
You're getting it, aren't you? Yeah, you are.
I'm zooming on it now.
So not sophisticated. No. No.
You're good.
It's tea time. Welcome to Barbados, the easternmost island in the Caribbean. I've got to say, Barbados is beautiful. The water is just clear blue, shades of turquoise, gentle waves, palm trees everywhere. It's just such a beautiful paradise here.
I'm a big fan of the flag of Barbados. I do like the color combination of blue and yellow and the trident in the middle, which is a symbol of the Greek god of the sea, Poseidon.
In 1536, the Portuguese sea captain Pedro Campos led an expedition from Portugal to Brazil. During the voyage, Campos and his sailors came upon an island that had these really strange-looking trees that had aerial roots just hanging off of the branches. They had such an odd look to them that the sailors thought they looked like beards. And that's why they named the island Barbados, which means bearded ones in Portuguese. This is Carile Bay. It's one of the main beaches in Barbados. It's famous for having several shipwrecks that you can snorkel or dive in. And we were able to take a snorkel tour out to several of them. We actually saw 3 or 4 turtles. They were all swimming around and they got so close. They were so friendly, definitely used to swimming with humans. We were told by our snorkel guide to not wave our fingers like that, or else they might think your fingers are a snack. And there were a ton of fish, all different colors and shapes and sizes, just swimming in and out of the shipwrecks. The ships were sunk on purpose at the sites where we snorkeled. Since it's good for the fish, it's good for the snorkelers and divers as well. We rented a car which allowed us to drive all over the island because it's a pretty small island. The island is about 20 miles in length and around 14 miles in width.
What we like to do is we drive around all over the island and we look at all of the landmarks such as lighthouses, beaches, and we stop by all of them. This is called Harrison's Point Lighthouse.
If you look kind of off in the distance, this is almost the northernmost point of the island. I can see where the waves get a little choppier. What a great view. The lighthouse is right behind me, and then I've got the beautiful water in front of me. Oh, there is a big padlock that's locking this door. You can see it, it's behind this thing. So I guess we can't go inside. I wonder if these ruins are where whoever was working in the lighthouse might have stayed. There's even a chimney behind me, or what's left of the chimney.
Did you see the monkeys?
Oh, wow. It's so cute. We've been having a great time at our hotel called Cobbler's Cove. I love the character and just the overall feel of the hotel. It really seems just very Caribbean, very representative of what you'd want a hotel in Barbados to be like. If you're lucky like we were, you'll actually be able to see monkeys playing on the hotel grounds. We saw 2 monkeys. Well, I guess 3 technically, because one of them was a mom with a little baby, and they were just playing on the grounds of the hotel. And you have this amazing view and access to perfect, calm, clear Caribbean blue waters. Breakfast is amazing. Every morning we have breakfast overlooking the amazing view. The rocks in front of the hotel make for some really great snorkeling. You don't even need snorkel gear. You can just walk or swim through the water, look down, and there's all kinds of colorful fish. Every day from 4 to 5 p.m. is tea time. At tea time, you can drink one of multiple different types of tea, and there's some snacks as well, little finger sandwiches, brownies, little tiny cakes. Don't leave your plate unattended. There are lots of very friendly birds who would like a little nibble.
I watched a Netflix documentary about that submarine that went to see the Titanic that imploded. So I'm just a little nervous. However, I'm optimistic because I believe this submarine, Atlantis, is not made of microfibers. At first, I thought it was a touristy, gimmicky thing, but it is actually fantastic. The submarine is designed to go as deep as 600 feet. However, for insurance reasons, they they're only allowed to go down to 150 feet. And our particular dive, I saw there was like a little meter that tells you how deep you are. We went as deep as 144 feet.
If you look up towards where the surface would be, you actually can't see it anymore. I don't think I've ever been down this deep.
It's really interesting when you go deeper in the water. The deeper you go, the spectrum of colors that your eyes can see changes. Red is one of the first colors that you can no longer see once you get to a certain depth. And then the further down you go, things get more bluish. The kind of things that you see, especially that you're here in Barbados where the water is so clear, you see a lot of sea creatures and fish and a lot of biodiversity at the bottom.
So much aquatic plants, fish, turtles, an entire world down here.
And one of the coolest things is you actually get to see a shipwreck and you're diving right next to it. And of course, you can't help it but think of the Titanic. It's just like the natural thing. But it was super cool just seeing a shipwreck. And I believe it was quite deep as well. It's not easy to scuba dive there. It was really cool.
At the end of the tour, everyone gets one of these certificates. I am now an Atlantis Submariner. We dove down to a maximum depth of 144 feet. You'd never guessed there was a house tucked behind here. It's just kind of like in the middle of the jungle. I love it. We're at St. Nicholas Abbey and we have a train tour in a little bit less than an hour, so we thought that we would tour the grounds of the Abbey first. The plantation encompasses over 400 acres, sugarcane fields, tropical gullies, mahogany forests, and formal gardens. Even though this plantation is called St. Nicholas Abbey, it's actually not and never has been an abbey. It's always been a plantation. My first impression when I saw the Great House was that it really doesn't look Caribbean to me. It doesn't look like any of the other architecture that we've seen in the Caribbean. I read that the style is called Jacobean or Jacobean, and there's elements of architecture from both 17th century English and also Dutch styles.
Inside the Great House, it's very old-timey and charming. Check out this old-timey radio. I bet it still plays music from 1651.
This house is over 350 years old. It's where the owners of the Abbey lived. This tree is over 400 years old. The tree has spikes, so it's a good idea not to touch it.
The train experience was very interesting. It was a steam-powered train. We've never been in a train that is actually steam-powered. The whole choo-choo sound and everything. This is an actual choo-choo train. All the smoke was coming out, blowing in our faces. I believe I saw a lot of wood. It was mostly wood that was being burnt. Such a nice experience. From the top of Cherry Tree Hill, this is one of the highest points in the island, if not the highest. You can see a lot. This is the Atlantic side. It's a very good vantage point. You can see a lot of amazing scenery, beaches, water, of course, greenery, and hills.
When we were at the top of Cherry Tree Hill, everyone was able to disembark the train and look around, enjoy the beautiful scenery. And while we were doing that, the train conductor, as well as several passenger volunteers, helped to turn the engine around. The track that it was on was kind of on a swivel, so the engine turned around on the tracks and then it was moved to the front of the train. The first caboose became the last became the first, and the middle stayed the middle. There's lots of vendors up here and also tourists taking selfies, including us. Originally, the plantation made sugar and molasses, but currently the product made here is rum. We were very lucky that as part of our tour, we were able to try some rum samples. The first one was a 5-year-old rum. The second one was a white rum, and that one was very strong. And the third one was my favorite. It was an amaretto flavored rum, or technically an amaretto flavored liqueur. And I liked that one because it had a nice amaretto flavor to it and it had a little bit of sweetness. One of the things we learned is that the rum is actually aged in barrels from Tennessee, and we're currently from Tennessee, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
I tasted the rum, it was very strong. I'm just not used to alcohol, especially the kind that's very concentrated like that.
grunting. You're not going to hear me or the grunting.
Must be their mating season because there are
Clearly.
several.
Clearly it's their mating season. I feel wrong looking at this. I feel like I shouldn't be here. I should give them privacy. I gotta get out of here. We're currently at the Barbados Wildlife Reserve. This is something I was really looking forward to because I am a huge animal lover. The highlight of the reserve are all the green monkeys. They're just allowed to roam free. They're not in cages or anything. And there's also tortoises, peacocks, different types of birds, and this really cute little deer. It was very small, and I read it's called a brocket deer. The monkeys were so much fun to observe. You can tell that they're really intelligent if you look in their eyes, if you make eye contact with any of them. You can see an intelligence, almost human-like. The monkeys and the other animals are fed twice a day, and we got here right around 2 o'clock, which is their afternoon feeding time. There was a big pile of fruit, and the monkeys would crouch on the tortoises' backs and then just grab the fruit and then eat it. And some of them would just grab little handfuls of food and then scamper off and maybe climb one of these trees over here or sit on one of the benches, and they just kind of sit there and eat. And you can watch them. And there was this adorable little monkey who was loving his orange. And the little baby monkeys are so tiny and so cute. And they just hang on to the mom, like on her underside. They just kind of like grab on and they just kind of go along for the ride. They go where she goes. The monkeys aren't just here at the reserve. They also run wild around the island. When we were driving yesterday, we actually saw a monkey just kind of scamper across the road casually right in front of us. There's either a fish, a person, or something else floating over there. I can't tell, but it like keeps bobbing up and down a little bit. Or maybe it's a person. I think it's a person snorkeling. I was hoping it would be like a shark or like a big fish, because I love animals, so everything to me is an animal.
This is one of my favorite spots here in Barbados. It's essentially a cave. It's under the ground, but it's above water. And it has windows and pools inside. How cool is that? This is the Animal Flower Cave.
The Animal Flower Cave got its name from a sea anemone that lives inside of the cave. It looks like it's a little flower. If you tried to touch it, the flower part of the sea anemone will retreat back into the coral rock and it will hide from you.
When you come in and purchase a ticket, it's very casual. There's no strict timing about it. It's just every few minutes a guide comes out to go inside the cave with just a small group of people. As you enter the cave, it's extremely photogenic there. Of course, the ground is very uneven. There's a lot of stone structures inside. There are some natural pools inside that if you're wearing your swim gear, you get to swim. It's best not to get too close to the outside of that cave, because if you have one big rogue wave, it can come in crashing through that window and hurt you. And when you're here, if you're interested to see even more views of the cliffs and the waves, you can take short hikes either to the left or to the right of the cave. The views are, of course, spectacular, and you get to see the waves from different angles. There is an excellent restaurant that's in that same area. It's right next to those cliffs, and you get to eat, of course, delicious food while watching those really high waves crashing, and it's very mesmerizing. You can just sit there in that restaurant for hours just watching the waves.
We just took the Harrison's Cave tram tour. It was a fantastic experience, and I highly recommend it for anybody of all ages.
This is definitely one of the must-dos here in Barbados.
At the very beginning of the tour, you make your way to the tram. And on the way, you pick up a helmet, because you have to wear a helmet when you're going on this tour, because you're in a cave after all. We saw so many different underground streams and little pools of water, all these different rock formations made of different minerals. We saw stalactites and stalagmites.
Inside the cave, we entered humongous chambers. There was one that they called a rotunda, and another one that was big enough that they called a cathedral. It really looked like a cathedral, just given how grand it is. And it's amazing to think this whole giant room, tens of feet high and across, is all inside a cave. I think it's kind of funny that the tram is designed to be driven on this very well-made and maintained pathway, yet a lot of the roads out in Barbados are definitely not as nice as that road inside the cave. We have a very nice trick. Whenever you want to see nice views, more often than not, it's right next to a lighthouse. So you look on the map for lighthouses, 9 out of 10 times you're going to have amazing views right next to the lighthouse, just like this. It's at the far southeast point of the island. This place is called Ragged Point.
It's a great view, but it's a little bit scary because it's pretty steep.
This place is not listed on a lot of the websites that tells you things to do in Barbados. So this place is a bit of a hidden gem. The views are amazing.
That's huge. I thought this was like an aloe plant at first, and I'm still not sure because if it's aloe, it's huge. But it's like huge and thick. I really feel like I shouldn't have touched it. I apologize, plant, but you're very cool looking. We're at Hunt's Gardens, a beautiful botanical garden. The garden itself is about 2.5 acres in size, and it was made inside of a sinkhole that was created by a collapsed cave. If you actually look at the edges of the garden, you can even see the walls of what used to be the cave.
They have a picture chart of all of the different species of flowers and birds. That way, as you're walking through the garden, you know what you're looking at.
If it starts raining, we can just huddle under here. It's like a little umbrella, or a big umbrella. The gardens are very impressive, and there's an amazing display of tropical plants and flowers and trees, things I've never even seen before. These are called Heliconia rostrate, or hanging lobster claw. I think they also kind of look like the beak of a tropical bird, or like a toucan or something. The way these gardens are laid out, it really feels like you're walking around someone's huge, big backyard. It's somewhat intimate.
I also feel like I'm immersed in nature.
These trees that have the red bands on them, they're called Mansional Trees, and they actually produce these tiny little green fruits. These unassuming looking fruits are actually really poisonous, so you're not supposed to touch them or eat them. And if it's raining, the sign recommends to not even stand under the trees, because when the rainwater hits, it can pick up some of that poison, and if that hits your skin, you can actually have blistering. Luckily, it is a beautiful sunny day today.
Barbados has a lot of very nice beaches, including this one. This is called Haywood Beach, and it has a really nice natural infrastructure. There's sand, and there's also rocks. What I like about these rocks, it makes like a natural barrier against waves. It makes going to the beach such a pleasant experience because the water is very flat, like a carpet.
I don't think I've actually seen a beach that has this many like huge rock formations. It's really cool.
Here in Bathsheba Beach, there are rock formations like no other. A lot of these rocks are skinny on the bottom, and they're big. The waves and the water eats away at the bottoms of those rocks, so they all have skinnier bottoms, and then they come up into a spherical shape. Very intriguing.
It's a pretty long beach. It runs north to south on the east side of the island, which is the Atlantic side, hence why it is so wavy. You could go in those little naturally formed pools if you want to go in the water here. Otherwise, I would not recommend it because the water is choppy and wavy. Some parts are really hard to get to, and you have to kind of climb over some rocks or treacherous areas. But this part of Bathsheba Beach is really easily accessible. There's plenty of parking. It's very easy to walk down and enjoy the beautiful and unique scenery of these rocks.
Natural and man-made. Be careful when you go on Airbnb and make sure you do not get that one. It doesn't have a roof.
He's so cute, oh my goodness.
Is it necessary to have so much?
Oyens Fish Fry is located in the town of Oyens, and it's really like a street fair. There's lots of vendors for souvenirs as well as vendors for food. Although Oyens Fish Fry is open every day of the week, Friday nights are the most popular. If you're here on a Friday night, it's definitely worth checking out.
There's no